Hey guys, this is Todd with SubjectMoney.com, and I'm going to quickly show you the 4 main reasons why I do not like Google Performance Max campaigns. Now, something to take into consideration is that I am in the home services business, specifically roofing. So in our industry, our objective is to obtain or to acquire leads and then convert those leads into jobs. So this definitely does apply to you if you're in a similar industry. And if you're not, I think it may apply. Just take that into consideration. So as you know, like a Google Performance Max campaign, briefly what it is, it's just taking all of the different types of campaigns, like your search campaigns, your display campaigns, your discovery campaigns, and your video campaigns. And it's just putting them into one. It's like one omni-channel or like a conglomerate of all the campaigns into one campaign operating under one daily budget. So the first reason is keyword targeting. So whenever you're setting up your Google Performance Max campaign, and then you're going to set up like an asset group, which is going to be pictures, videos, headlines, descriptions. It's going to be an entire asset group that can be served throughout all the different types of platforms and placements in the Google Ads ad network or, placement network. There's going to be a section where you can set up somewhat like a keyword theme. You can enter in the keywords that you want to show up for, like roofing companies near me, roofers near me, roof repair, roof replacement near me. But you don't really have a lot of control over like the match type or the specific keywords that your ads are going to be served for. So like when you have a standard or a traditional Google search campaign, you can enter in a list of your keywords and then you can choose the match type. Like you can choose broad match, you can choose phrase match, or you could choose exact match. Now, me personally, I like phrase match with the combination of a huge negative keyword list, which I'm going to get into. But here, you don't really get that option. And then so that's lack of control. And then you get into lack of transparency. I'm not even able to really see what search terms my ads are being served for. When I get into the insights, I can't see what search terms my ads are being served for. I just have to trust that Google, a profit-making organization, is spending my money as efficiently as possible. And they are in the business of making profit. So I don't know if I can really believe that. Okay, so keyword targeting. I think that the ads are being served to a broad match type of keyword. So what I noticed, I ran a Google Performance Max campaign pretty heavily for about 2 months. And I mean very heavily relative to our ad spend. And I got a lot of calls for people looking for jobs, roof repairs, people looking for repairs for their RV, roof, just looking for materials, supplies, all sorts of things that I would not prefer that I pay for a click or for a call for. So there, lack of control, lack of transparency with my keywords. And then that brings me into the next reason why, and that's going to be negative keywords. So at least if I'm going to be serving my ads to a broad array of keywords, broad match type of keywords, at least I should be able to add a negative keyword list. So if I notice that I'm getting calls for people looking for other roofing companies because they want to file a claim on the warranty, or if they're looking for jobs or looking for materials, then I should be able to get in and add a negative keyword list and maybe enter in the name of my competitors. So I'm not paying for one of their previous customers to call me about a leak that they have. I'm not paying for somebody who's looking for metal roof panels, which we don't sell, we install them. I'm not going to pay for people who are looking for jobs. So I can get in and add a negative keyword list. I can add like the word jobs, hiring, materials, supplies, supplier, to make sure that my ads are not being served if those words are part of the keyword phrase or search term that the user on the other end is making. I don't have that kind of control. Now, you can add negative keywords, but it's kind of blocky. It's not very easy and efficient. I like to get into my campaigns and I like to audit my search terms every single day to see what my ads showed for. And then I want to add the negative keywords. So I can every day build that negative keyword list. In order to add negative keywords to a Performance Max campaign, you have to have a representative who's available to you and they are going to have to add, it's a Google representative, that Google Ads representative is going to have to add those negative keywords or that negative keyword list for you on the back end. And yeah, you could build your negative keyword list over time, and they might be able to do it once, but if you're trying to do this every day, it's not that easy. You have your ads being served to all sorts of search terms that you can't see. You don't know what your ads are being served for. You just got to trust them. And then on top of that, you can't really add your negative keywords. So there's a lot of money being wasted for you paying for clicks, or for me paying for clicks that I don't want to pay for. All right. So this brings me to the third reason. And the third reason is budget allocation. So as I stated earlier, Google Performance Max campaign is pretty much like an omni-channel conglomerate campaign that encompasses all of the different types of Google Ads campaigns and then allocates your budget as Google sees fit. Now, you got to remember, Google, again, is a profit-making organization. So their goal is to make sure you spend as much as of your daily budget as possible. So that's one of the reasons why I suspect they don't really want to give you all of this control. So your budget allocation, I might decide that I want maybe 75% of my budget to go towards search, and then I only want a little bit of my budget to go to display or discovery or video, for example. But when you have a Performance Max campaign, you don't really have that control. Let's just say, for example, let me get over here, you have a $500 daily budget. And then there's a day where there's just not a lot of people searching for your services. It happens. There are days, there's weeks where it's just slow. People are not in need of your services. For example, if you're targeting roof repairs and it hasn't rained in over a month or 2 months, it's not raining, you're probably not going to get a lot of people actively searching for your service. So let's just say that there's a day. Let's say you have a daily budget of $500 for a Performance Max campaign that's targeting people who need roof repairs. All right. So let's say on that day, there was only 2 clicks of people who are actually searching for your services. So those are going to be people who actually did a search, and they clicked on an ad that showed up in the search or in the maps. And so that was like $80 a year budget. You could have had a $1,000 budget going towards search only, and there wasn't enough people to exhaust that budget. And therefore, you only spent $80 on search, which this is going to be your highest. Search is going to be your highest intent. That's going to be your highest intent user. All right. So you only spent $80, but your budget was $500. So what is Google going to do? Google is going to take the remainder of your budget in that Performance Max campaign. So the remainder of your budget is going to be $420. They're going to take that and they're going to allocate it to display campaigns. They're going to allocate it to discovery campaigns and to video campaigns. Now, it's not going to be labeled as display, discovery, or video campaigns, but your ads, whenever you create your ad group, you're creating you're uploading like different images and different videos. It's going to make sure that it spends your entire budget. So that remainder of $420 you can guarantee is going to be spent, and it's going to be spent on display, discovery, and video ads. Another thing that I noticed, a lot of times you're going to see your budget like real early in the morning. Let's just say you have your budget running 24 hours. Or let's just say you have it running for 12 hours or the hours that you're open. It doesn't matter what, that budget, you're going to see a lot of that budget get drained early on in the day because they're pushing all of those ads to display. They're pushing all of your display ads. They're serving your display ads and you're paying for it. You're paying for all these clicks. And a lot of those clicks, they really are fraudulent, invalid clicks that you're paying for on the discovery, on the display. And then on video, it's going to be running your video a lot. So the whole point is that you don't really have control of your budget allocation. And the majority of your daily budget, where I would prefer to put that towards search on a Performance Max campaign, the majority of your daily budget is going to be spent in display, discovery, and video. And these are all lower intent. Now, the goal of that is that you're trying to get your ads in front of people who are maybe early on in the funnel. So they're not quite looking for your services yet, but they are aware of your brand. So yeah, you're not going to have as low of like a cost per lead, or cost per conversion for your display discovery and video ads. They do serve a purpose. You are getting branding out of it. You are reaching people who one day, may need your services. And when that time comes, they're going to be familiar with your company. So there is a reasoning behind this type of strategy, but I like to have a lot more control. Okay. And the final point that I want to go over, or reason why I don't like Google Ads Performance Max campaigns, is poor AI learning. Or as you know, the whole purpose of these Performance Max campaigns is so that there's some machine learning and Google can serve your ads to people who are most likely to convert. And they can do like bid adjustments. They can adjust your bids based on their location, based on their affinity or their interest, what they're in the market for, what type of device they're using. That's the whole point, is that Google's goal is to serve your ads to people who are most likely to convert. Okay, so it does that by your campaign, your Performance Max campaign, actually acquiring some converters or leads. And that's why you have to really they always want you to let the campaign run for a while. Just let it run and let it acquire some conversions and start learning what type of users are likely to convert. And then they'll start serving your ads to people who are similar to people who have converted. All right, so the problem with this is, as you remember, I was getting calls for people who were doing searches for looking for jobs, looking for materials, looking for supplies. And I did not have control over filtering out those types of users. Additionally, I was getting a lot of spam whenever my ads were being delivered to spam conversions. Like I was getting a lot of spam, like people actually filling out my form on my website. They'd click on a display ad, or it was a bot clicking on a display ad, get on my website, and it would just fill out a bunch of spam about like, we have capital for your business, or we can offer you healthcare for your employees and stuff like that. So all of these people looking for jobs, people looking for supplies, people that were soliciting or marketing to my company, they were all filling out the forms, and they're all being recorded as conversions, which sends a good signal to Google. Well, when that sends a good signal to Google, that means that the Performance Max campaign is going to start serving your ads to people who are similar to people who have already converted. So it's actually learning to serve your ads to people that you really don't want your ads to be served to. So it's learning to serve your ads to people who are looking for jobs. It's learning to serve your ads to bots that are filling out your forms. And it's learning to serve your ads to people who are looking for all of the things that you really don't want to target. And that's because you don't have control. You don't have control to filter that out. So anyway, that is my fourth point. Now let me get into my spreadsheet, and I can just kind of show you a graph of how costly it was to run my Performance Max campaigns. Okay, so you can see here I have my Google Ads spreadsheet pulled up. Now this is a spreadsheet where I keep track of my ads performance on Google Ads, my Google Ads performance. And what I really like to keep track of is cost per estimate when it comes to the marketing. Now, cost per job, that obviously is the most important, but there's some other factors out of the marketing control, such as your sales guy's sales performance. So for marketing purposes, I really like to keep track of cost per estimate. So up until about August, right here, August is when I started experimenting with the Performance Max campaign. And then like September and October, we were hit with a hurricane, and I was getting a lot of calls from my Google Ads rep, and they were really trying to set up some meetings, and I just kept pushing it off because we were just so busy from all of the hurricane jobs. So finally around January, we started slowing down. But you can see over time, I was this time when you see these ads, this cost per estimate going up, I was spending more and more money on Performance Max. I was just slowly experimenting with it. And to be honest, we were so busy with the hurricane, I wasn't paying as much attention to it as I should have. Near the end of January, I decided to just go all in and take the recommendations because according to my metrics on Google, the cost per conversions were actually looking really low. And that's really because I was getting calls for people looking for jobs and marketing stuff to me, solicitors. And they were being recorded as conversions, and I was so busy with other stuff, I wasn't really keeping track of it. Real metrics out of my CRM and my Excel spreadsheet as I should have. So I made the mistake of trusting Google Ads metrics, the cost per conversion, and just really rationing it up, talking like $30,000 each month spent in the Performance Max campaign. So you can see here in February, my cost per estimate, that's not even a job, shot up to $1,605 cost per estimate. And then you can see here in March as well, I was running a lot of the Performance Max campaign, and cost per estimate, $1,074. These are for Google leads. This is not company-wide, just for leads that came in through Google Ads. And I mean, that's just not even sustainable. So, these are not people, these are not referrals, they're not neighbors from roofs that you just did who called because of a yard sign or a referral. These are somewhat like cold leads, people who really have not interacted with your company before. So they're harder to sell. Your close rate's probably going to be like 25% on these. So that's coming out to maybe a $4,000, $5,000, or even $6,000 cost per job. At that point, you're just losing money. And this is what I mean. These Performance Max campaigns, if you're not really paying attention, they really could be just a company eating, self-eating, budget destroying bid strategy. So most of us in, running small businesses like roofing companies, we don't have the kind of money to fund that long term. Hey, maybe it's going to have a long term effect because of all of the branding and that you have. So yeah, maybe in the very extreme long run, it might work because you're spending so much money on these display ads, discovery, and videos. But for most of us in this industry, there's just no way you can run a business with these kind of numbers. So I just want to kind of show you. Now let me pull up another chart. Let me move this one out of the way. And here's another chart. Now in this chart, I'm just kind of comparing 2022 to 2023. So January of 2022 compared to January of 2023. So as I said, January I was already running these. I was starting to pick it back up, or I was starting to advertise more with the Performance Max campaign. And you could see like my cost per estimate, not lead, my cost per appointment, January of last year was about $327 roughly. And then January of this year, when I was increasing my Performance Max campaign budget allocation, it pretty much doubled my cost per estimate, $682. The same with February. Now look at this. This is when they just said, hey, why don't we go all in and just really test this strategy out? So in February, I did it. I was trusting the numbers. And you could see we went from an average cost in February of $420 per estimate to $1,605 per estimate. Just a huge increase and a huge waste of resources. And I mean, if we were to continue, this would put us out of business. It would put any company out of business. So again, now you look here, March 2022, our cost per estimate was $310. That's like cost per appointment. And then here, March, when we were spending all of this money on the Performance Max campaign, over $1,000 per appointment, per estimate. Not sustainable. So I think that this should really put into perspective how much money you can waste in a Performance Max campaign if you are not paying attention. I think that Google needs to give us a lot more control, or they need to really fix their do something. But as of now, I do not recommend using Performance Max campaigns. So one of the reasons, like I said, I was trusting their numbers, their conversions, and ultimately those conversions where I thought I had, maybe like 80 conversions, it really was more like 18. I actually had 18 genuine leads in 1 month from Google, and Google was telling me that I had somewhere around like 80 conversions. And the reason why is because most of those recorded conversions were people calling looking for stuff that I just don't provide, or that like for jobs. I'm not spending money to convert people into calling me to look for a job. I'm not spending money to have people call me to buy materials. So ultimately, that's what I was spending my money on, these Performance Max campaigns. And the AI was learning to serve my ads to people more like that. So they were serving my ads to people who were looking for jobs even more, because it was sending those good signals to Google. So anyway, I appreciate you watching, and make sure to check out this video up here if you want to get some more tips, tricks, or Google ads or digital marketing techniques. And also don't forget to subscribe to my channel.